We are here today to review the Department of Defense's management of POW MIA accounting. Our nation has made a commitment to service members and their families that we will obtain the fullest possible accounting for the missing and recovery of remains for those who died serving our country. I am here to give a loud wake-up call to everyone involved that it is time to put your squabbles aside for the good of the mission and the good of our nation. It is unacceptable for dysfunctional bureaucracy to impede our efforts to bring closure to the families of missing personnel. I think there's three major areas that I'd like to try to get covered today. One is who's really in charge, and is the structure appropriate? Second, what are we going to do about the infighting and the turf battles? And third, have we set realistic goals, and are we using taxpayer dollars in the most efficient way possible? Let's start with the leadership question. I have to tell you that as I began preparing for this hearing, echoes of Arlington began resonating with me, because when we looked at the problem at Arlington National Cemetery, there was a lack of oversight that was really bred by no one being in charge. It was very easy to finger point because there wasn't a clear chain as to who was responsible. And I will put this chart in the record, but I want to hold it up because the interesting thing about this is every red box has a role. Look at that. I mean, is it any wonder that this is a mess? What can you tell me about plans to change this ridiculous organizational structure that is supposed to be working on a very focused problem? It's not like this problem is disparate. It's not like we're talking about, lift needs for the Air Force, or we're talking about logistic needs for the Army. We're talking about locating the missing remains, which involves, obviously science, it involves personnel, it involves cooperation of the various branches. But if we don't get this fixed, they're going to be back here in 20 years yelling at you guys. So tell me, General McKeag, what are the plans right now for reorganizing this in a way that we can hold somebody accountable?
Chairman McCaskill, as you know, the GAO, that was their first recommendation of the 9, was to look for the department to consider some sort of consolidation. I don't look at this necessarily from the standpoint of this being, we all have different roles. My role is clearly the operational arm of the accounting community. I don't delve in policy. I don't delve in notification to families, but I know my partners do. And so I can assure you that as part of the department's implementation of the GAO's recommendations, recommendation number 1 will be looked at seriously.
If we get this concentrated with some kind of very clear chain of authority, then we will do a much better job of making sure that we're not getting excuses as opposed to real problems that we need to help you solve.
I want to echo your commitment to making sure that we address the problems that have been identified by the internal report